What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Cal Live here, bringing you a new Yu-Gi-Oh video. And I know what you guys are thinking, Cal, this is not Master Duel. I know, but look, we are talking about a deck that is pretty strong in Master Duel, so you might want to stick around and see what we are talking about. But anyways, guys, if you guys have not seen, your boy went ahead and posted a post on YouTube about where I placed at locals for TCG. That is right. I went ahead and played Swordsoul, and I promise you, this Swordsoul deck is so good. It goes up against Casteris. It goes up against Traptrix. It goes up against D-Links. It goes up against Runic Naturias. This deck is so good, and I've done so well with it. I can only be proud of myself. So I decided that, you know what, I want to go ahead and basically show you guys what I was playing. So if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get on to it. Now, this is my first deck profile. It might be a little weird because my camera's kind of like not too stable for some odd reason. So I got to figure out how I'm going to get this set up. But anyways, let's just go ahead and start it. So I do apologize if the camera does end up shaking. But first, we are going to start off with the best card in the deck, being Swordsoul Moye. Now, Swordsoul Moye is literally, I believe, the best card in the deck. If you open up this card and you open up either a Swordsoul card or a Worm monster, you basically have full combo. This is how good this card is. So anyways, what does Moye do? Basically, you normal summon Moye or special summon Moye, and once you do that, you can reveal one Swordsoul card or one Worm monster in your hand, and then you can special summon one level 4 token. From your level 4 token, it then is treated as a tuner monster, which then you can use to go ahead and synchro summon into a level 8 monster. And this is just off of one card being normal or special summoned. This can then equal into a Chizal, it can equal into a Crimson Blader, it can go into an Adamantipator Rising Dragite, it can go even into a Boxia. This is how good this card is. Now, as for the second best card in the deck, I'm going to be playing 3 copies of Swordsoul Strategist Long Yun. Now, Swordsoul Strategist Long Yun is literally, I think, the second best card in the deck, because if you go ahead and discard a Worm or Swordsoul monster to go ahead and summon out this card, then you can get a level 4 water token. This then allows you to go into level 10 plays, such as Tenyi, such as Baron, such as Sinister, and basically anything that's a level 10 tuner that just requires like a tuner and a non-tuner monster. You can then go ahead and go into that play. Now, for the other copy of a Swordsoul card, we are going to be playing Taya. Now, I am only playing Taya at 2 because I believe that Taya at 3 can be a little bricky at times, as if you don't have a Worm or a Swordsoul card in your graveyard, this card is basically pretty much dead for you, right? Because you can't use this effect because you don't have anything in the graveyard to banish. But if you are able to go ahead and actually get the effect off, then you can get a level 4 water tuner monster, and then you can go into level 8 synchro while also using its effect to discard a card from your deck into the grave, which can also set up a lot of plays for you. Now, for the last copy of a Swordsoul card that we are playing, we are going to be playing Iris. Now, at first I was not thinking of playing Iris, but then Iris came up really huge for my past locals. Basically against the Traptrix matchup, they would go ahead and summon out Sarah. I will go ahead and negate that. Either I'm negating it with Effect Veiler, or I'm negating it with Imperm, or anything that I just negate. As long as a monster is being negated on the field, you can summon out Iris. And then what happens is Iris has basically 2 different abilities. One is special summon one monster from your hand, right? So if they were to special summon a monster from their hand, then what would happen is I would be able to draw 2 cards, okay? But I think the really good effect is when they special summon a monster from the extra deck and allow me to destroy one card. Allow me to destroy one of the special summon monsters from the extra deck on the field. So this is really good because with that happening, I can either destroy the Sarah, because Sarah is only not being able to I believe be destroyed by basically trying to remember, is it spell and traps or just traps? I know, but it's basically something like that, right? Where if you can just get rid of one of their link monster or someone's link monster, it's pretty much GG's, especially if they don't have any follow-up plays. Like if they were dependent on that, then what are they gonna do, right? So for instance, let's say they go ahead and summon out Sarah, they try to go ahead and parallel exceed. Now we go ahead and imperm the power of their Sarah on summon, and what's that's gonna happen, we can then summon out Iris and we can get rid of that card, right? So it's really cool. Another thing that we are going to be playing when it comes to Swordsoul is now we're going to be playing 3 copies of Ecclesia. Now Ecclesia is a really good card because basically if your opponent has more monsters than you do on the field, you can basically special summon Ecclesia from your hand. Ecclesia then has a second ability, which is where you can go ahead and tribute this card, right? Send it to the graveyard and then special summon out either a Swordsoul or a Fallen of Albez card from your hand or deck. And that's really good because this card will let you basically special summon out Moye, or you could go ahead and special summon out basically Longyun, or you could special summon Iris, or you could go ahead and special summon out Taya. So like really good card. The only problem with this card is you will get Ash most likely using this card. So it's also really good because it can bait out Ash as well, just in case you need to go into like an emergence or something like that. So yeah, now that we're done with that, we can then start talking about the Tenyis. Now if you guys know, Swordsoul is really good when it comes to Tenyis. So we are playing triple copies of Ashina. Ashina is such a really good card. Basically, this is probably the only Tenyi I'm going to be playing at 3 because of the fact that it has so much usage. Basically, with the power of Bystials basically being almost gone, right? Like when's the last time you really seen a Bystial card with tears being gone? But basically, you can special summon out Ashina if there's no effect monster on the field. So even if you have a monster in set, like face down set, you can special summon out Ashina, and then what you can do is go into your link, which is Monk of Tenyi, and then use Ashina's effect, which will allow you to special summon out a Tenyi monster from your deck. And now we are playing 3 different copies of Tenyis. Now the copies that we are playing at 2 is going to be the Tenyi Spirit Vashuda. Now if you guys don't know anything about this card is absolutely busted. It is broken. Basically, as long as you have a non-effect monster on the field, you can use Vashuda's ability once per turn, where you can banish it and you can basically select a card on the field and send it back to the hand. So let's say you're going against Branded and they have a Mirror Jade, you can use Tenyi Vashuda to go ahead and send that back to the extra deck. That way you don't have to worry about it being destroyed and then you losing all your monsters on your field at the end phase. Another card that we're playing at 2 as far as Tenyis is going to be Tenyi Adhara. Now Adhara is another good card. Number 1, it is a tuner, so this can set up a lot of plays for you. But number 2, it allows you to go ahead and grab a monster that is banished as long as it is a warm monster, right? So, and with the Swordsoul cards being warm monsters, you can go ahead and grab those, or you can grab a Tenyi card. So really good because you can then use this card either to go into a level 8 synchro with your other 2 Tenyi monsters, or you can use it to go ahead and grab a banished card, which is really useful as long as it is a non-effect monster on the field. Now finally, for our last Tenyi card we are playing, we are going to be playing 1 copy of Shatana. Now Shatana is really good because of the fact that number 1, it's a water, so this comes down really useful later on. But number 2, this card really does wonders when it comes to working with Monk of Tenyi. Basically, if a non-effect monster is destroyed by battle and this card is in your graveyard or your hand, right? You can go ahead and banish it, and then what's going to happen is you can summon out your Monkey Tenyi and then use Shatana's effect to destroy one monster on the opponent's field. A lot of people really forget about what this card does, and if they don't have any negate, they literally cannot stop it. So you can pop a card on the field for free, which can save you at times just in case they are going for OTK and the only thing you had protecting wise was a Monkey Tenyi at the time, right? So really fantastic card in my opinion. Now another basically Swordsoul card we are going to be playing. This time it is going to be our spells and traps. We are going to be playing 3 copies of Emergence. Now if you guys don't know, this card is fantastic. It has 2 usage. Basically the best usage for it is if you activate this card, you can add 1 Swordsoul card from your deck, Swordsoul monster from your deck. But also if you have a synchro monster already on the field and you activate Emergence, then you can add a warm monster to your hand. Another thing that happens with this card is if this card is banished, then you can go ahead and increase or decrease 1 warm monster on the field by 1, which is really useful because then you can go ahead and either make a level 7 with your monster, or you could go ahead and make a level 9, or you can make a level, you know, like 11. It all really depends of what you're using with the card. But yeah, really good. Best way to go ahead and search out Longyun or Moye or Taya, right? So finally, the other spell card we are playing when it comes to Swordsoul is going to be Sacred Summit. Sacred Summit is basically your monster reborn of the deck. You can basically use this to summon out a Swordsoul monster in your graveyard, which is really cool. Or if you control a synchro monster, you can target 1 warm monster in the graveyard instead, which can set you up for a bunch of plays. And just like Emergence, you can use it if this card is banished. You can use it to increase or decrease monster's level. That's a sword. That's a warm monster, right? So finally, the last trap that we have when it comes to Swordsoul is going to be our Swordsoul Blackout. Now Blackout is really good because Blackout is essentially a 2-pop card. And what I like about this card is that it only is a target for your 1 warm monster, and it's not a target for them, right? So it says target 1 warm monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. So basically you can go ahead and use this, get rid of either your Monkey Tenyi that's on the field or any warm monster, and then you can destroy 2 cards on the field, whether it be spell, traps, monsters. So really good. But another effect that it does have is if this card is banished, then you can use it to summon out a level 4 token, which is really cool. And the level 4 token is a tuner water monster. So let's say you get your Taya impermed, but you banish out Blackout. Blackout would then allow you to still get off a token onto the field, and then you can still continue your plays. So really cool. Now that we're done with all the Swordsoul cards, right, let's go ahead and talk about the spells and traps that we are playing in the game. Now for spells and traps, we are going to be playing 2 copies of Desires. Desires is a really good card at times. I will say that because sometimes this card really be hurting me, man. Like it's sometimes really painful. But basically you just go ahead and banish 10 cards from the top of your deck, and then you're able to draw 2, so it can serve as an extension. Sometimes if I have full combo, I'll go ahead and activate Desires just so I can see if I can search out some hand traps, and sometimes it really does come in clutch. Now like I said, at times it does hurt, especially if this card gets ashed. It's like, man, what was I supposed to do? I just banished 10 cards for no reason, but you know, it is what it is. Ash is a card. Now for our last spell that we are playing, it's going to be Monster Reborn. If you're wondering why I'm playing Monster Reborn, this card is just basically an extension. I really enjoy this card. I'm happy that this card is literally not banned anymore because it was banned for so long. So, you know, I just really like Monster Reborn. But basically you can use this to go ahead and bring back your Baron if your Baron was ever destroyed, or you can bring back any of their boss monsters or your boss monsters, or it can be used to summon out Moye, Taya, Longyun, you know, anything which will help you continue plays, which is really cool. So that's why we are playing it. Now, for our traps, we are going to be playing 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Now, a lot of people at my locals, I promise, are literally in shock when they see me main deck Evenly. And the reason that I main deck Evenly, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, is because half the time I do choose to go second when I play Swordsoul, just because I know I'm playing evenly, or I just like to really lose the high roll. I don't win the high roll as much as I wish I did, right? So evenly is really, really good for me because no one expects it, especially in round 1. When you go ahead and evenly them, they're like, huh, he main decks evenly. I cannot believe it. So really, really good card. Fantastic. Yeah, you lose your main phase, your battle phase, but if you're able to wipe out a whole field, who cares about losing that battle phase? I think the card is absolutely just busted. I think it's broken. I think the card should have probably never been printed, to be honest with you, but you know, you have to play it. Now, if you're wondering what hand traps we're playing, we're going to be playing triple copy. I know this is not considered a hand trap, but I'm going to be considering it a hand trap. Triple copy Infinite Imperm, and we're also going to be playing triple copy Effect Veiler. So basically, they are essentially the same card. Effect Veiler is basically an Imperm for your opponent's turn. You can use Effect Veiler actually multiple times throughout the turn, and basically you send this card from your hand to the grave, and you're able to negate an effect on the field, an effect monster on the field. Imperm, you're able to go ahead and activate that on your opponent's turn from your hand, as long as you don't have any card on the field. So going second, I really don't seem to mind it much because I know I will open up with these cards. I always end up opening up with these cards. It's actually kind of nutty. I've seen where I've opened up double Veiler and literally double Imperm and then Moye, and then my next draw is just a Worm card, and it's just full combo. Because what were they to do? Like 4 negates, it's really hard to get by, especially when you can't really do anything about it or you don't see it coming, right? Now, we are then going to be playing triple copies of Ash Blossom. Ooh, this card just looks sexy. Oh my gosh. I believe I got this one from, let's see, which one is this? Where's this one from? I can't even remember, but look at that. That thing is gorgeous. But anyways, triple copy Ash. Ash is just busted. It's a broken card. You can use this to basically stop Branded Fusion. It's literally Branded's biggest issue. You can use it to go ahead and stop basically the Trap Tricks monsters from searching. You can use this to stop a lot of cards, man. The card is just busted. I don't even know why that card is printed. I don't know why it exists. It's just a busted card. And then finally, the last hand trap card that we are playing is triple copy Nib. Now, if you're wondering why am I playing triple copy Nib, because Castira does exist. This card also does stop Trap Tricks from full comboing, which is crazy. This card also is out to Branded at times, depending on how Branded is feeling. They may go full combo and actually end up summoning 5 times, which I went against someone that did, and it actually really worked out well. And then another thing is, anytime I ever ran into, like for instance, this past locals, I ran into Draco Slayers. This card literally just ended it for them. There was nothing that they can do, and it was just GG's. So yeah, these are the hand traps. I'm playing a total of, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12 hand traps essentially. So yeah. So anyways, guys, this is going to be the main deck. So, and then finally, the last thing we are playing is my 2 water tokens. I just use these water energy Pokemon cards as my water tokens. I just think they look really cool. So yeah. Finally, let's get into our extra deck. So move all these real quick. Now in the extra deck, I am playing basically one Baron. Baron is busted. You guys should know what it does. It's a negate. It's an omni negate. On top of that, it is also a pop every turn. On your standby phase or your opponent's standby phase, you can use it, send it back to the extra deck, and summon out a card from the graveyard. We are going to be playing one copy of Ryzen. Now, Emancipated Ryzen Dragai is really good because Moye exists and Shatana exists. As long as those two cards is in your graveyard, or one card is in your graveyard, you have a spell trap negate. This card is really good. At one point, I've had this card on the field along with Baron, right? And I also had Moye, and someone decided, one Trap Chase player tried to evenly match me. I negated with Baron. I negated with Dragai first. Then they went ahead and evenly matched again, and then I negated with Baron, both on the same turn. And then finally, they summoned out a monster, and I went ahead and negated with the power of Chaizao. So really, really busted. Spell and Trap negate, just crazy, right? Finally, we are going to be playing two copies of our literally best synchro monster in the deck, in my opinion, which is going to be Chaizao. You know, not much is to be said. It's literally a monster negate. On top of that, it's a search upon summon, which is really, really cool. You can go ahead and search out a Swordsoul card, and because you're always chain blocking for this thing, you will always get that card out unless like that search out, unless they imperm you. That's the only thing that's going to stop you from being able to do that. Imperm or Forbidden Droplet, right? That's literally the only thing. Now, we are going to be playing one copy of Sinister. Sinister is really good. I actually end up going into Sinister more than I go into Baron. I'm gonna be honest with Long Yun in the token. Basically, Sinister will allow me to easily take care of Castera. I'm not gonna lie. This card literally just destroys Castera. It does not care. Basically, if you get this card onto the field, this card, number one, helps you, especially against time. Let's say you're running low on time, you go ahead and summon out this card, right? You already dealt 1200 damage off of the Long Yun summon into this, and then on top of that, when your opponent decides to go ahead and activate a spell and trap, you're doing another 1200. And then on that same turn, if they activate like special summon out a monster, that's another 1200. So essentially, you're dealing 3600 off of literally one card. That's how good this card is, and it's also banishing both those cards, the spell and the monster, right? Now, for the other card that we are going to be playing, it is going to be one copy of Changing. So Swordsoul Changing is absolutely fantastic. This is the big boy in the deck. Basically, this card gets 100 attack and defense for each card to banish, while also lowering your opponent's cards by 100 and like attack and defense, right? So for each card banished. So not only is it increasing, let's say I have 10 cards banished in total and my opponent also has 5 cards, that's 15 cards, right? That is 1500 attacking increase for you and 1500 decrease for all his monsters on the field. And on top of that, if a card is banished on the field, right, what this card can do, if a card is banished in general, you can then go ahead and banish a card on the field and a card in the graveyard. So super good. Another thing that we are going to be playing is going to be Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. Now, Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, I go into sometimes. This card comes up not too often for me, but it's really, really good. I'm not gonna lie. Draco Berserker is really, really good because basically you summon out this card. If this card attacks the monster, it gains that attack of the destroyed monster's original attack. So let's say I just destroy like a monster with 2000 attack. This thing will go up to 5000. And then on top of that, if they decide to activate an ability, you can activate Draco Berserker and you can go ahead and banish that card, right, of that monster that activated an ability. So it's really good. And you can only use each effect of Draco once per turn. So super good. Now, for the other synchros that we are playing, I am playing double copy of Boxia. Now, Boxia is such a fantastic card. Let me fix this because I really don't like the way this looks. Looks so messy, man. So, but basically, yeah, we're playing double copy Boxia. And what Boxia does is, if this card is summoned, you can then go ahead and return monsters or return cards, target cards on the field, and return them to the owner's deck up to the different attribute of worn monsters used to make this card. So basically, this card's really good, especially with Taya. You get a Taya onto the field and you get the token that's a wind, and it's going to be a water attribute. You then can go ahead and send 2 cards back into the deck. This card works numbers, and then it has another effect. You can then destroy 1 card on the field and summon out a level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard, which you can then use to summon out Moye if you have one, or a worn monster, which is really good as long as it's level 4 or under. So super good card. Now we are then going to be playing Ice Raid Grimmer, and what this card does is basically when you activate this card's effect, your monsters cannot be destroyed or banished that turn. So this is really good against Branded, because Branded will go ahead and try to banish your card using like Mirror Jade. You can activate Ice Jade Grimmer, and Grimmer would just say, no, my cards cannot be banished as long as they're on the field, like your monsters on the field. However, if it's like anything in your graveyard or anything in your deck, then it's fair game. But mostly this card's really good against like the power of like basically Catch Terror, or it's really good against Branded. And then another thing, if you like chained this to a monster, so let's say like Fenrir decided to go ahead and attack, right? And with Fenrir attacking, it activates the effect to go ahead and banish a card face down, like a monster face down. You activate Ice Raid Grimmer, and Ice Raid Grimmer just says no, and then you banish that Fenrir. Like, it's really absolutely just busted, right? And then finally, we're going to be playing Yazi. Yazi is really good because of the fact that like Yazi is a level 7, and then on top of that, you can use this card to go ahead and get into like a Moye in case you need to, or Taya, because you could destroy 1 card on your field, like destroy the Yazi and then destroy 1 of their cards, and then bam, you get to summon out a worn monster from your deck in defense position. And finally, for the last synchro, we are going to be playing Crimson Blader. Now, Crimson Blader is one of my favorite cards to play. I'm so happy that this card is still useful. I can basically use Crimson Blader to go ahead and stop Castera. I can basically use Crimson Blader to stop any deck that requires a level 5 or higher monster to be normal or special summoned, as long as I use this card and attack a card and send it to the graveyard. So super good. Not much to say about it. Plus, it's a generic level 8. And then finally, for our last 3 like extra deck cards, we're going to be playing double copy of Monk of Moye, and then finally Shaman of the Tenyi. Monk of Moye is basically our extender. You summon out this card. It works really well with the Tenyis. Vashuda, you get a banish off of it. You use this with Shatana, you get a destroy a card, a monster card on the field. You use this with Ashina, and you can summon out a Tenyi monster from the deck. Or if you use this with Adhara, you can go ahead and grab a card that's banished and put it back into your hand. So really cool. And yeah, this is my extra deck. Now, I know if you guys are wondering, hey Cal, why don't you play Chao Feng? I actually ended up cutting out Chao Feng from the deck just because I really didn't see me using it as much. And eventually I do plan to probably cut Yazi from the deck as well as soon as I get Psychic and Punisher, which is coming in the mail. Just waiting for that. Been waiting for it actually for quite some time. So yeah. But now finally for our side deck, we're going to be playing triple copy D Shifter. Now, if you're wondering why I'm playing D Shifter, it's just because this deck really is like super annoying against certain matchups, and it really doesn't affect Swordsoul as much. I mean, you don't really get like the graveyard effects from like Moye, Longyun, or like or Taya, but it still stops a lot of decks from being able to do anything. This kind of like an out to certain decks, so I just really like D-Shifter. It's not being as used as much anymore, but you know, I still do like it. Another thing we are going to be playing is triple copy of Dark Ruler No More. So triple copy of this Dark Ruler No More is basically, you know, activate this card, shut down the whole field. pretty broken, especially with evenly. You activate this, then you go you know, battle phase, and the battle phase evenly, right? So super busted. And then on top of that, Swordsoul really doesn't mind Dark Ruler. Obviously you won't be able to do damage, but I mean, if you can wipe a field and, like, you know, get off your plates for the free, why not? Finally, we're going to be playing the best side deck card ever to be printed. Dimensional Barrier. Dimensional Barrier literally just says no to synchros, fusions, exceeds, and rituals, right? So this card is really good because right now Trap Tricks is very huge. Branded is very huge, and if you could just stop them and stop the power of Castera, this card just does what it does, right? It's super broken. This card should have never been printed either. I don't know what they were thinking. The only thing I wish it would stop though is links, so maybe they will go ahead and, you know, make a new D barrier. Who knows? And then finally, we are going to be playing one copy of Forbidden Droplet, one copy of Heartbeat Feather Duster, one triple tactics talents, and because your boy is broke, we're going to playing Book of Lunar Eclipse. Now, if you don't know what Book of Lunar Eclipse does, it's basically, you know, like a off-branded version of Book of Eclipse. Yeah, you could discard one card and target one face-up monster on the field, change them to face down position. Actually, it's target two face-up monsters on the field. And then one copy of Call By. Call By is really good. Basically stopping hand traps. You know, you can also stop like the Edo Lock, or you can stop like the gimmick puppet with Branded, or even the Raw's Disciple. So really busted. And then finally, I am playing Swords of Concealing Light. Now, this card basically does what Book of Eclipse does, but it's not like a quick play. And then on top of that, I believe it's up to into the second standby phase. So basically, this card will keep their cards in defense all the way up into the second standby phase. So really good. Swords of Concealing Light, basically just, you know, poor man's Book of Eclipse. And now, yeah. So anyways, this is what I'm playing. Now at one point I would probably side deck Rivalry, but I don't own any copies of Rivalry. And then eventually I do plan to get Thrusters. Just don't know when I'm gonna get my hands on that, as that card's super expensive. But anyways, guys, this has been a really long video. I don't think that this should have ever been this long. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. Peace. Cat Life is signing out.